This video is about my thoughts of iOS 12. First of all, you have to understand that this is about also the iOS 12 public beta version. So this is a version that anybody can get. First of all, you have to understand that this is actually a beta version. And what that means is that there's debugging material still in the operating system. So it's not really the same thing as normally putting on a stable version of the system. This debugging material will have several effects on your phone. First of all, it'll cause it to run hotter than it normally would. Secondly, it'll reduce the battery life. So those are a couple issues. There are other issues that could occur. And first of all, there are also certain precautions that you need to take when putting on a beta version. The first thing you need to do is to go to iTunes and back up your phone. This is extremely important because things can happen to your phone and it may not be usable, or you may not like it, or the heat may be too great, or there could be all kinds of issues. And different kind of phones and different kind of things can lead to different problems. So you need to have that backup. Having the backup from your phone will not cut it. You've got to have the backup from iTunes. You need to update iTunes and put a backup on. An old backup won't work. So if you're counting on a backup from a year ago or something like that, you're not going to be very happy with that. So this is actually critical. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and install iOS 12. If you decide that after you have it on that you don't like it, or there's something that's not working, or your phone quits working, or you have an issue, then you can go ahead and put your backup back on. If that fails, you'll have to go back and install your system as a completely new system. I actually tried to do this and was kind of stupid, and I decided that I had a backup, and so that was good enough. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I'll just go ahead and put it on. And I was too lazy to put on a recent backup. This was a serious mistake. After installing it, I put it on an iPhone SE. I decided that, well, you know, it's okay, but it's actually running quite hot, much hotter than I like. And the only thing I liked was the bundle notifications. I noticed that it did have a thing on there to measure things with, but it was kind of a novelty item, and I really didn't care for that. I much preferred a much cooler phone. So I decided that, well, I'll put my backup on. Well, I went to put the backup on, and it comes down to the end and says, okay, you need to put in your passcode. But the screen for the passcode wouldn't come up. And so I ended up with a problem there. And so it gave me a couple options on how to resolve that. And I picked one of the options. And what it did was it put iOS 12 back on again. Except this time it had to update all of the programs on it. So now it wasn't actually as in good a shape as it was the first time I put iOS 12 on, because now I had to update all of the apps. And so, well, I said, well, at this point, you know, I'm kind of happy, so I'll go with this. Well, then I noticed that not only did it have to update all of the apps again, but it also, the phone quit working, and I did need the phone. So that wasn't going to work. So I decided to back up a third time. On the third try, I ended up just installing it as a new system and went back to where at the beginning. So it was kind of a bad experience. And this phone actually is working now, and it had iOS 12 on it, and it's back to the 11.4 version. So it shows you that you do definitely need to make a backup. The lesson I learned on that was very heavy. I also learned that even though I've put on a lot of betas in the past, I've never had issues in the past. There are issues with the heat. The benefits of iOS 12 on a SC isn't that great. So I would say that there's probably not a lot of benefit to it. So I wouldn't say that I still wouldn't try it again in the future, but I definitely would back up the phone before doing it. I wouldn't try to put on a backup. And I might be able to deal with the heat issues. I already use low power mode anyway, most of the time. So that in itself will not be enough to help me use it. Also, I'm wearing a shirt called Live Fearlessly from a job I used to have. I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you try iOS 12, you will live fearlessly. So, as a humorous note, anyway, if you want to try it, go ahead and give it a shot. But please definitely make a backup on iTunes before you do it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And thanks a lot.